Podcast Alien Meditation, Episode 10. Welcome to the Alien Meditation Podcast, the program where we teach you to connect with your stellar ancestors and empower your spirit with the Andean philosophy. I am Karen Prieto, shamanic facilitator, instructor, and founder of the international school Alien Meditation. Access alienmeditation.com to find content and courses that will help in your spiritual growth and your training in holistic therapies. Welcome to the first episode of 2022. I've been absent, but I'm back with the podcast. I will explain the reasons why I have been absent. First of all, I want to wish you a happy year 2022, the year of the tiger. This is the year where safety no longer has a mystery, and where we have to open our ability to expand our consciousness, to find new sources of life, to connect with creativity, and allow ourselves to let ourselves be surprised by life. This can certainly be a difficult task, since when we become adults, we acquire an obsolete egoic structure that prevents us from easily adapting to changes. This year's challenge is precisely adaptation, and this is what I'm going to talk about in this episode, about quantum therapies, and about how this year I already had a very big adaptation experience. I have a video on YouTube explaining whether or not holistic therapies are pseudoscience. In this video, I am basically explaining that there are two worlds, the objective world and the relative world. The objective world is based on the scientific explanation of all facts, and the relative world is based on the interpretation of the world through our own senses and our own consciousness. These worlds should coexist in integration and harmony, but Western culture has been responsible for separating these worlds, giving more priority to the objective world, where the explanation of the facts through scientific methods is most important. This is where we, holistic therapists, can run into a problem, because our methods are based on that relative world, where what predominates is the extrasensory experience. Well, we don't have a scientific explanation to demonstrate through equations about the existence of the chakras, for example. But through our interpretation, extrasensory sensitivity, and our conscience, we can feel them. The problem is when we want to bring those metaphysical experiences into the objective reality, and we want to start explaining everything to the rational Western world using scientific language of Western culture. This is where there is room for many charlatans who want to make quick and easy money, and who are not true holistic therapists, because they are not willing to support their techniques with practice and experience. And through marketing, they want to sell their methods as if they were treatments of the objective world, that is, scientific treatments. In January, my mother told me that she was going to see a doctor who is supposed to be a very good doctor. So, when she consulted this doctor, she told me that the doctor had told her that everything was fine and that the doctor had prescribed a lot of natural remedies for her. My mother also sent me a document from that doctor through WhatsApp that was a kind of official diagnosis. That diagnostic document had the title Quantum Scanner. Just seeing the title of that document, I already knew that it was a charlatanism. The word quantum is very scientific, very beautiful, and very of marketing. It is true that many people, including me, have used that word at some time of our lives to try to explain our metaphysical experiences, but since this word is a scientific term that in itself involves many things that have not yet been explained, this is the perfect term that many charlatans have found to try to sell an unproven method as a scientifically sound. With this word I can sell many quantum things: quantum reiki, quantum scanners, quantum magnetic resonance, quantum chakras, quantum everything. When I opened that quantum document, there was a series of boxes where they mentioned the diagnosis of each and every one of the organs on the body. This supposedly quantum diagnosis was made through a machine that is easily purchased on the internet, called a quantum magnetic resonance scanner. And here I understand that many people will tell me, "How bad you are, Karen. How dare you attack this technique that has helped so many people in their existence? I am very spiritual and ascended, but I wish you the worst. May Master you know who strike you with a thunderbolt and give you what you deserve." Well, I congratulate those who have benefited from this technique, but the intention of this podcast is to explain my bad experience with this kind of quantum cure. And it will be very good if those people who defend this type of technique listen to me so that they can have other points of view of the facts. As I said, in that document, it mentioned a supposed quantum diagnosis of each and every one of the organs of my mother's body, where it said that everything was fine. And next to the chart were simply recommendations of what she could do better. The quantum doctor recommendation was that she improve her diet, she eat more fruits and vegetables, and that she walks more. Everything that any charlatan would tell a person to do: adopt a healthy lifestyle, do physical exercise, breathe, meditate, etc. Everything that we already know we must do to be well. And the worst thing is that through the supposed quantum scanner, the diagnosis seems very personalized. The quantum scan said my mother's heart was fine, but I knew she wasn't. My mother has been complaining for a long time about a lot of suffocation. I asked my mother what kind of remedy that quantum doctor had formulated for her. My mother told me that she had basically formulated homeopathic and natural medicine for her at a specific pharmacy. From there, I understood the round business of formulating so many remedies in a certain pharmacy, since I am certain that this quantum doctor also takes commissions from the sales that she promotes in that pharmacy. I felt very angry. However, I didn't express my anger to my mother, knowing that what my mother probably needed was a quantum placebo. However, I asked her to please go to a real doctor and avoid going to the quantum doctor. A week later, my mother had a heart attack and was admitted to the hospital. So I had to travel from Brazil to Colombia to take care of my mother, because she was going to have an open heart surgery. During all that time in which my mother was hospitalized, she had a total of 6 heart attacks, derived from a very serious coronary disease that the quantum scanner could not identify, and that, on the contrary, pointed out that everything was fine with my mother's heart. By believing in this type of charlatans and falling for this type of lies, we can often put life of a loved one at risk. This type of supposedly scientific procedures should be considered a crime, and we should not support this type of situation. If you see my YouTube video where I'm explaining whether holistic therapies are pseudoscience or not, you will understand what I'm referring to. Through holistic and metaphysical therapies, we can promote well-being and often the cure of a physical problem. But this doesn't mean that we have the license to diagnose who is healthy and who is not healthy, and what type of treatment that a person with cancer or with a coronary problem may or may not have. This is only for science and doctors. Well, and now you understand the reason why I was so absent during the month of January, because I stayed the whole month taking care of my mother and I didn't have much time to create content and pay attention to the people at school. Mindfulness, meditation, breathing, emotional self-control, and all those techniques that are ultimately metaphysical, energetic, are very important to maintain a balance and consequently not somatize bad emotions, so as not to get physically sick. We, as holistic therapists, understand that this is a fact. However, we have not official license to make diagnosis or determine the best treatment for a person with cancer or a heart problem or any physical problem whatsoever. Not even phytotherapists themselves can formulate remedies, much less ask patients to substitute a remedy prescribed by a doctor for a phytotherapeutic one. What we can do is see the best way for the person to balance their lifestyle and perhaps take some type of supplement for the medical remedy, making sure that the person doesn't have any allergies and that they will not have any drug interaction with any of the medications that the person is already taking. That requires a lot of responsibility and a lot of study that hardly a quantum charlatan has in mind. Because when it's possible to buy a quantum machine online that costs $100 and it's possible to charge $50 to put a quantum machine on the patient for 5 minutes, it's much more profitable than going to the trouble of researching and practicing a holistic therapy. My call is for us to reflect and understand that our mission as holistic therapists is still very important, even because we live in a very materialistic age where we don't give priority to consciousness. So it's our job to deepen and work on that metaphysical and conscious side that Western society doesn't support, so that humanity doesn't go crazy. However, we have to be very careful with any charlatan and don't become charlatans ourselves, as it's very easy to fall into a messianic ego and believe that we have the last solution for humanity. Let us understand that any one of us can have a naive family member who believes in this type of charlatan and, at the suggestion of the charlatan, abandons their medical treatment to treat themselves with a pseudoscientific method, and many times have a complication like what happened to my mother. One of our missions as holistic therapists, as well as being really good at what we do through practice and research, should also be to break down this type of quackery and set the record straight. Our work must be professional and transparent. And with this, I close this episode. Thank you very much for your time and attention. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, share it, and subscribe so that this content reaches more people that can benefit from it. See you in the next episode. Bye.